this over. Nope, that's not it. God dang it. Thomas, where's the play button?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live period.
All right, guys, welcome back to the live period. Today, we are joined by our friend Mad Dog, head coach of Utah Valley, Mark Madsen. How are we doing today, my friend?
Doing great, Brandon. Thanks for having me on the show.
I appreciate you coming on. This one's going to be fun. We've got like so many cool things to talk about. You're a head coach now at a Division I program. You've coached the Lakers. You played with the Lakers. You've played with 3 of the top 10 greatest players of all time, in my opinion. This is gonna be fun. So let's dive in here and let's head back to Stanford. You played there for 4 years, right? Came out as a senior.
Yeah.
And
I was a senior.
I was reading on your stuff that kind of the Mark Madsen moment at Stanford to go to. We got like a sound skip, Thomas?
I'm good.
Are you hearing it skip? Okay. All right, I'll jump back and I'll edit that part out. So the Mark Madsen moment at Stanford was the dunk and the free throw to go to the Final Four. And then I was like, man, that's big time, especially when I went and looked at your career free throw percentage record. That was not a guaranteed free throw. Maybe just talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like and being a Cali guy and going to Stanford and taking a team to those kinds of heights.
Well, the thing I remember, Brandon, is just how close-knit of a group of players and teammates we had at Stanford. The player who really won the game for Stanford was Arthur Lee. Arthur was from North Hollywood, California. We got lucky that he chose Stanford. I think UCLA had a chance at him. I think UCLA went a different direction. I think they were kicking themselves ever since because Arthur came to Stanford, and Arthur was basically the reason. Look, it's always a team game, but Arthur was the driving force between us getting bounced in that Elite Eight game against Rhode Island and us going to the Final Four. I think he had scored 11 or 12 points in 3 or 4 minutes, hitting threes, getting to the basket, helping all of us believe that we could win the game. And it was a great memory, and we ended up at the Final Four. And to this day, that group of players, we stay in touch. We stay in touch. We see each other when we can. And it was a special moment.
That's big time. That a lot of people in their careers have some moment or something like that where they, have that thing on the line like that thing you envision when you're a kid, like standing in the driveway, going up and shooting a free throw to do something. But not a lot of guys ever get to do it, to go to, in that moment, in that level of pressure and intensity. Like, what is that? I've never experienced it. What is that like?
It was a surreal experience because we were down 11, 12, 13, probably 13 with 4 minutes left. And it felt like the game was slipping away. That's what it felt like. And there was a timeout, and Mike Montgomery, man, he came to that bench, and Mike Montgomery got after everybody. And you could just feel his fire and his passion. He kind of lit a fire. In me. And so I remember just being on the court, and I just thought to myself, look, you're down 14, just play as hard as you possibly can, no matter what happens. It was kind of a life lesson for me, just, hey, play as hard as you can. And then all of a sudden, our point guard, Arthur, just goes off and plays phenomenally. And then the spark turns into a flame, turns into a huge bonfire. And then we end up winning the game. And it was just, you couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. But we got hot at the right time. Nothing but respect for Rhode Island, for Katino Mobley, Tyson Wheeler, Coach Jim Herrick, his staff, and the other players on the team, the university itself, nothing but respect. But it was a great moment.
That's big time. I love it. So you finish up at Stanford and and just go into the draft and had you been talking to the Lakers quite a bit before? Had you kind of an idea that they were going to take you there? Or was this something that just kind of happened?
I had no idea that they were going to take me. My whole focus at that time was, I think I had 8 draft workouts, 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, New York Knicks, Sacramento, a few others, I think. Maybe I'm remembering more than I had. but I went down to the Lakers. At that time, you have that three-peat in the early 2000s. They hadn't even won the first one yet. My draft workout was during the playoff run.
Oh.
And so I was up there in Jerry West's office. Yeah. It was myself, Jason Capono, and one other player local to LA. We were up there in Jerry West's office looking down on the Lakers players, Shaq, Kobe, Robert Horry, Rick Fox. AC Green was on that team and his legacy. And Jerry West said to us, so we're down there watching, they're getting ready. They're in the middle of the Portland series. And Jerry West says, first of all, I'm in awe. I'm looking at Shaq from above, and it's just, give me a break. You're watching Kobe, a young Kobe. And Jerry West says, you guys will find that the NBA game is the same as the high school game. He's like, sure, guys are a little bit quicker and a little bit faster, but it's the same thing. It's just like high school basketball. That's what he said. And I thought to myself, there's no way. There's no way the NBA is like high school basketball. But, a couple years into the NBA, after I had adjusted to it, he was right. Jerry West was right. Guys are much bigger and faster, but it's the same thing as high school basketball. It really is. When I meet basketball players now, I'm out socially with my wife or just on a plane or something, and somebody says, I play basketball. My first question to them is, did you play varsity high school basketball? Because if someone plays varsity high school basketball, they are a good basketball player. They just are. Playing varsity on any high school, on most high schools, is hard to do. And you have to be a good player to do it. You have to be tough to do it.
All right. For all the kids out there listening, he does not mean that if you played varsity high school basketball, you're going to the NBA. So back off. I don't want to hear about it. So Lakers.
Yeah, your Twitter is going to be blowing up. Brandon, your Twitter is going to be blowing up.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. Well, what do you think about for school? I don't know. I might just skip it and go to the NBA. I don't know if you know or not, but I played varsity high school basketball.
Coach, if I could ask you, obviously you have the name Mad Dog. Doing some research, you got that name in high school. What was going to be your path to be in the league for as long as you played? Like, what were you thinking? I need to go wherever I get drafted and bring this to the practice and games every day. What was your kind of your niche?
Well, it was funny because when I was in college, when I was in high school, I didn't know if I was good enough to play D1 basketball. When I was in D1 basketball, I didn't know if I was good enough to play pro. And so I remember our team psychologist for the Lakers, George Mumford, a great statement. He said, some players think they're way, way better than they are. Other players think they're way worse than they are psychologically. And other players have an accurate view of themselves. and so he came to me one time and he said, you have an accurate view of yourself. I took it as a compliment, but really in high school and college, I didn't know if I was good enough to make it. And truth be told, we all know I was probably a borderline guy. That there's probably a lot of other players like me with my skill set that could have had my spot. You have to get a little bit lucky, but then you do have to work. You have to show up every day. Some days it's hard to show up. I was inserted into a game, a big game, at the Staples Center in front of 20,000 fans. We needed to win for the playoff seeding. We were up 1 and there was maybe I'm trying to think of the exact scenario, but we were up. The other team was shooting a free throw, and there was not very much time left in regulation. All I had to do was get a box out. That's it. All I had to do was box out Desmond Mason. That's easy. Desmond Mason is, shoot, 205 pounds. I'm 250. He's 6'5". I'm 6'9". I have the inside position. He doesn't. The shot was taken by whoever Seattle Supersonic it was. I stepped into Desmond, did my fundamental box out I always do. And then I felt him. And then all of a sudden I didn't feel him. I'm like, man, he just given up. He's given up. And so I released. The free throw was missed. I go up to grab the free throw, and all of a sudden I see these two hands just go up way above mine. He grabs it. He dunks it. The game is forced to overtime. We lose the game. Horace Grant's going to the locker room. Horace Grant, who is still a close personal friend, he picks up a garbage can. It just throws it across the room. I felt so horrible in that moment. You know, and I apologized to Horace after the game. I said, Horace, I'm sorry. That's on me. He said, nah, I didn't throw the garbage can because of you. It's not because of you. You know, he was one of those guys that we lost the game in the first quarter, which true leadership. That's true leadership, you know. But you know how hard it was to go back into the Lakers locker room the next day. We lose a game because of a missed box out of me. Shaq's on the team, Kobe's on the team. They had won it last year. They had won the championship the year before, and now they're trying to win another. And I lose again. You know how hard it is to show up to practice? The embarrassment of missing an assignment, the personal disappointment. You don't sleep. You let your teammates down. You let the fans down. It's hard. It's really hard. I went in there the next day. I apologized to the whole team. I said, that will never happen again. And I'll tell you this, I never missed a box out like that ever again. You know, I never made that same mistake. And, you know, you make a lot of mistakes in a career, but you learn as you go.
Well, that's such a fantastic story for you to be able to share with your team now, right? Because we're not talking about like somebody made some fantastic shot or, you know, you just got beat or whatever. It's, you know, in your mind, you missed something that's a fundamental thing that was lack of focus or whatever. And being able to go to your team and say, hey guys, like, you know, let me tell you about a big stage and what this really feels like lock that in, like just do the fundamental things. Nobody's going to dog on you if you just get beat. But if you lose focus or something like that, and being able to share that with your team, which I'm sure they just love hearing. Like, dang it, coach.
You know, I think you know, my career has had a lot of failures. It has, you know, a lot of mistakes on the court, and the truth is you try to learn from it. You try to learn from the mistakes. I'm grateful for the failures because it's only from the failures that you can get better and stronger and grow as a person, grow as a player.
Well, there's so many things that you can give to your players now from all these character building moments and stuff that you had. So, you know, you go do the workout and everything, but by draft time, Lakers have won a championship. So you've got Shaq, you've got Kobe, you've got these names and just the hype and all the things, the circus going on around that team. And your name gets called for the Lakers as 29th overall. What went through your head, or did anything go through your head when that happened?
Well, it was I was at my parents' house. I just graduated Stanford, and I had a few friends over to the house. The phone rang. So I was 28th or 29th pick. I was the last pick of the first round. But the phone rang at like the 27th pick or the second to last or third to last pick. And it was the Lakers. It was John Black, the head of PR, media relations, communications for the Lakers. And he said, hey, we will be drafting you in 2 picks. I was in shock, you know, and I said, hey, I'm excited. You know, he said, okay, go back to the TV. So I go back to the TV with my friends and family. I'm thinking, do I say I'm about to get drafted? What do I say here? You know, and I thought to myself, you know what? Shoot, I know anything can happen. They can make a last minute trade. things can happen. So I'm not saying anything. I'll believe it when I hear it. And so then, the pick was announced, and I heard my name and felt excited. And then the phone rang again, and it was Phil Jackson. And Phil, who's still a friend, a great mentor, played Phil. When you played for Phil, you had so much confidence. You were just filled with confidence. Similar experience with Flip Saunders, who died several years ago of cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. But Phil was on the phone. He said, "Hey, congratulations." He said, "You can help our team win games." And we talked about 45 seconds, and then we hung up. And I remember thinking Phil, I can't believe Phil said that. And then you think to yourself, how in the world am I going to be able to help the Lakers win games? They have Shaq, they have Kobe. How in the world am I going to contribute to that? And then you start trying to figure out how to do it. You start figuring out how you can contribute. Phil asked me to get down there in August to start working out. I got there August 1st in the weight room every day, on the court every day. Not a single Laker player entered the gym in the month of August except for me. It's empty. Now Kobe got there in early September, and he worked out on his own anyway.
Right.
But later that year, Phil Jackson got, during a you hear that so much, and then it's kind of like, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, I can play with energy. I can have better energy than anyone on either team. That's just something that I knew I could do every night. And I did. I had good energy. Was it better than anyone on my team? Anyone, maybe not better, but at least equal to, on a consistent basis, I could have energy. I could control that. I could get offensive rebounds. That's something I could do. And so I tried to figure out, what are the things I can do? What are the things I can't do? What are the things I need to work on? And that was kind of my process in the pros.
Well, and like reading, comments from different players about you and stuff, Shaq said you were kind of the only one that could like really defend him, and as he said, used to beat him up in practice. But to be fair, like when you're that size, there's not going to be a whole lot of anybody's that can do much of anything. But that's that role of, like you said, how am I going to help these guys win? You're not getting drafted in that spot to come be the starting center at the Lakers because Shaq is there. Right. But, for you to take that mentality of, well, I need to go do whatever I can to try and beat up Shaq so that Shaq is ready to win ball games. I mean, hey, that's not a straw that a lot of people want to draw. It's like, hey, who are you defending every day? That guy. Oh, cool.
Well, it was the first time we played 5-on-5. Tex Winter said, Tex was funny. He said, he came to me before practice. He said, you'll see, we got Shaq and Kobe. We call them the varsity. And we got you and Tyronn Lue and Slava Medvedenko, and you guys are the JV. And the JV plays the varsity every day, and you guys got to make them better. That's what Tech can do. And so one day, it still gets heated, and there's still that 1 out of every 10 days when the starters are exhausted from a game, and we have all the energy, and we win a game 1 out of 20, 1 out of 10 games. But there was one day when Slava Medvedenko could not miss his mid-range shot in the scrimmage. And so he starts talking trash to Shaq. Well, and Slava, amazing confidence, Ukrainian. I mean, he was a great person, but he didn't care. He would go at anybody. He would go at Shaq. He would go at MJ. The names. I make the mistake of talking back to Shaq. So Slava and Shaq are going at, I make the mistake of chirping at Shaq. Well, I go for an offensive rebound. I got it. Shaq takes me by the shoulders, slams me on the ground. And so Phil Jackson blows the whistle and says, foul, Shaquille. So I make another mistake. I get up and I start clapping, kind of right in Shaq's face. Let's just put it this way. I never made that mistake again. You know, I probably crossed the line in respect towards a mentor, Shaq, towards a great person. He probably appreciated that I went hard in practice, that I tried not to back down from him, even though he dominated every day. But he didn't talk to me for 2 or 3 days, you know. But we got over it, and we have a good relationship today.
So I want to, before we dive into one of our other segments that we do here, I do want to kind of ask you about Kobe specifically,
Yeah.
and your relationship with Kobe. And I've been reading the Jeff Pearlman book, The Three Ring Circus, and just kind of hearing different stories, some of the stories that like we knew and maybe got more detail on, stories that we didn't know, really about personality and stuff like that. But I guess maybe from your perspective as somebody that had such a one of a few people on the planet that played for the Lakers, so that you had the kind of relationship with Kobe as a teammate that so few ever had. What was his, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, like his drive, like how would you describe his drive? Because we always hear about it, but we don't get to very often hear it from people that actually got to witness it.
Yeah. Well, Kobe's drive and his ferocity and his work ethic. He had so many different things. He had the talent. He had the ferocity, and he had the work ethic. And a few guys come to mind. Kevin Garnett comes to mind. Very, very similar to Kobe. They're both championship caliber players. Shaq comes to mind in terms of ferocity, talent, work ethic. Nobody surpassed Kobe's work ethic of anyone I've ever played with or coached, period. Kobe would get to practice. The first time I did beat him that rookie year, it was in September, and it was 9 or 10 in the morning. And I said, hey, I'm going to lift. Do you want to get some shots up? Because I think he was going to go get an omelet or something next door. And he said, I already got 2,000 shots up at 5 in the morning. And he had. And that was just, he worked so hard. He cared so much about team. You mentioned that Pearlman book. Pearlman is Jeff Pearlman, right? That's the first name?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff met with all of us. And I remember he was asking things. And I thought, oh, this guy knows everything, as if he were on the team, because he had done so much work.
Yeah.
I learned things about Kobe I did not know. There was an altercation on a bus in Cleveland. I was there. I didn't see it because I was sitting a few seats up. So I turned around and I saw it, but it happened a little late. There was an altercation at one point. Look, in the course of a season, you're with each other all the time. Little frictions arise, and then there was a little altercation between Samaki and Kobe. Well, Jeff writes about that, and then he wrote about some of the aftermath that I never knew happened. I saw everything on the bus. I saw it in the locker room. But there was another sub story that happened away from the arena on that, and I didn't know about it, and some of the guys on the team didn't know about it. And so, but with Kobe, I love him. I mean, I love Kobe, and I miss him. And it's that week when he died, that there was a lot of emotion. There's still emotion now for me because he had his whole life ahead of him. I was in touch with him. We were messaging about different things. When I took the job here, I was trying to get Kobe to Utah Valley to speak to our guys, to do a seminar with the students. And could we have gotten him here? I don't know, but I was trying. But Kobe was doing so many great things in LA. His work with the homeless. We were sitting on the plane, and his last season, I was sitting next to him on the plane when he was kind of the farewell tour, where people were able to come out and express their appreciation to him. And I said, what's next for you? And he said, I'm going into storytelling. I want to tell stories. I want to share experiences. Great family man with Vanessa and the family. And it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. And my relationship with Kobe, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it was great. It was great. I got to the Lakers. Kobe pushed me harder than I've ever been pushed. He pushed me so hard. at times it almost felt too hard. But I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to him because he helped me become a better player. He helped me get thicker skin. And Kobe Bryant is a great human being. And he was a great human being.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing the stuff that he was getting into towards the end of his life there, where Kobe was always known almost like his drive and stuff is one thing, but he was an artist on a basketball court. He created things that you didn't know were possible, and it was super interesting watching how I think he's always had a creative mind, but he wasn't putting paintbrush to canvas when he was playing basketball. But seeing that creative mind transition away from basketball and being put into other things that he was doing, like you were saying, the telling the stories and things like that, some of the things that we'll be left with now forever that he created. And it's just, it's something else to kind of see, I guess, an entire industry, people outside the industry, fans, like everybody just kind of in one collective, deep breath, take all that in that day. I remember sitting there reading about it as soon as it happened, because now in 2020, it's instantaneous news, right? And seeing just the world like pause was something, and speaks to the impact he had, I guess.
He had a huge impact, Brandon. No question.
If I could ask real quick, the last thing on Kobe, a player and a coach, obviously you were a teammate and then coached them. Is there anything when you stepped outside the player box that you noticed even more about Kobe when you were sitting on the sidelines or in practice that maybe you didn't appreciate as much when you were a player and all that?
I think when I played with Kobe, so the answer is yes. You saw his talent, you saw his work ethic, you saw he was so smart on the court. I think when I went back and coached him, I just kind of beheld his brilliance. I mean, the guy was brilliant. LeBron's the same way. I don't know. I think LeBron probably has a photographic memory, and he's brilliant. I don't know if Kobe quite had the photographic memory, but Kobe was brilliant. I mean, he was so smart. One time we were just talking on the plane, and I wasn't around the Lakers in 09 in that pair of championships they got, 09-10 time frame roughly, around that time. But he was just talking about how Phil Jackson would interchange. They would run angle, kind of the lifted pick and roll on one wing, and they would invert. They would have Pau Gasol lifted and Derek Fisher down, so that when Andrew Bynum would roll, the guy tagging down there was a little guy. Just little things, little tweaks. And Kobe just thought that there was one time, I think we were playing the Washington Wizards, Kobe's last year. And I don't know when Kobe's documentary is going to come out, but there's a lot of footage out there because there was a camera crew that traveled with the team that last year. Games, practice, everything. And I'm glad they did, because Kobe's life needs to be shared. Anyone that just attains that much greatness in their craft, it's inspirational. And you couple that with Kobe being a great human being, and Vanessa and the kids and the family that they have, it's an important story to be told. But it's a last second situation. We're on defense, and Kobe literally, and this will come out in the documentary, Kobe literally said the exact play that the Washington Wizards were going to run. He did. And they came out and they ran that play. And I was just in shock. I was in shock. Kobe looked at who was in the game. He looked at the coach down there. He knew the tendencies over a 10-year career. He called the play. We got the stop, and I think we got the win. But that's coming in the Kobe documentary. It's going to blow people away. And it's not scripted. It can't be scripted.
Yeah.
It's impossible to be scripted.
Just another awesome insight into one of the greatest basketball minds of all time. So, well, before we dive into your coaching career, we have a little thing that we like to do called, what do we even call this, Thomas? We got to come up with a name. I call it something different every time. But this is going to be Mad Dog trivia this time.
Oh,
So-
we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
This is Mad Dog trivia. Now, this is trivia that is, in theory, about you, but
Yeah.
it's more like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So this is going to be you versus Thomas. I've officially retired as a participant. I feel like I make a better host. I'm the Alex Trebek of Mad Dog trivia here. And so I'm going to ask some questions. Some of them are going to be numbers based. So closest to it wins. We'll alternate. You go first, then Thomas, and then vice versa. And we'll see who knows the life of Mad Dog Mark Madsen better.
All right, let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Ready, Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Thomas is always ready. Thomas was born ready. All right.
Man, Thomas is the man. That playing career over there, great league in Italy.
Appreciate it.
From 2000 to 2003, Coach Madsen played with the Lakers. His teammate, Shaquille O'Neal. His teammate was Shaquille O'Neal. How many feature-length films has Shaq appeared in? You're up first, Coach.
I'm up first. I'm going 4.
Thomas?
I'm gonna go.
Not starred in.
6.
How many has he featured in? Or not? How many has he appeared in?
Appeared in.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Coach, I'm
Probably-
going to actually give you a chance to change that number if you'd like.
I'm going to change to 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Price is Right and say 9.
Yeah.
Coach Madsen wins this one. Shaq has actually appeared in 20 feature-length films. 20.
Incredible.
Quite the thespian.
Hey.
I believe I read in the book that Steel grossed $870,000 and cost $19 million to make. So
That's tough.
That's tough. That's tough right there. It's tough, Coach. All right, next question. Coach Madsen is up 1-0 here. Next question. And I wrote these out this time, so I got to kind of read them and say what was I trying to say, because my handwriting is god awful. I didn't have my other computer. During the 2001 Laker championship parade, Mark Madsen famously danced, and I put it in quotes in here. Danced.
Oh, Brandon. Where's the love, man?
I watched
You gonna
that
put
video at least 10
quotations on it?
times this morning. I watched that
put
video at least 10 times. I
You put quotations on the word dance?
As I wrote it out too, I put the quotes. While Shaq performed his own version of the 1988 hit "It Takes Two," who originally performed this song? Thomas, you're up first.
I'm gonna go with Paula Abdul just because I don't know.
Oh, I need a lifeline on this one. I need some listeners to help me on this one. I don't know.
Oh man, no
Lifeline.
lifeline, no nothing, huh? Okay. I had a feeling this was going to be a hard one.
That's a hard one.
But the correct answer, no points awarded in this one. I was gonna play it on my phone, but then it sounded awful in the mic. Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. So
There's no way.
I thought maybe, what I kind of did was I snuck this question in here knowing there's no way Thomas was going to know this. I thought maybe that somebody would have told you at one point that that's who it was, or he would have said whatever. Clearly that didn't happen. Next question. Coach Madsen was drafted 29th overall in the 2000 draft. Later in that draft, Corey Hightower, shout out JUCO product from Indian Hills, was drafted 54th overall by the Spurs and then traded to the Lakers. However, after a fantastic summer league, which it was really good, it was 17-6 or something he had in that summer league, he was cut to make room for a point guard. How many pro teams did Hightower end up playing for in his career?
12.
I'm gonna go with 7.
Ooh, that one goes to Thomas. The correct answer is 8.
Okay.
In the CBA, the USBL, and one international squad, and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, so Corey, we played a lot of one-on-one during the month of September. Left-hander, He had a great hesitation move, and I thought, man, he's going to help us win some games, and I think it was a numbers game. It
Yeah.
was a numbers game. I actually I looked Corey Hightower up 3 or 4 years ago, and I saw the list of international teams he had played for. It was impressive.
Yep. It was, I mean, he killed in that summer league, and it was literally just, we need a PG.
Yeah.
And that's how this game goes. Drafted straight out of junior college at Indian Hills.
So who did we take? Pemberthy?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Took Pemberthy instead.
Mike could shoot it. Mike could shoot the ball.
All right, we got a tie game, guys. Down to the final question here. Now, this is a multi-parter, so we could maybe get some separation here. Coach Madsen went to San Ramon High School in California. 2 other alumni of San Ramon have won championships in the major sports. We've got John Gesick from the Cowboys, who won Super Bowl 27 and 28 in 92-93, and Nate Sherholtz, who at the time for the Giants won the World Series in 2010. Let's see who's up first here. Thomas, you're up first. Who did the Cowboys with John Gesick defeat in Super Bowls 27 and 28? And who did the Giants defeat in the 2010 World Series? 3-part question here.
So who did they defeat in the Super Bowls?
Yep.
Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other one?
Well, there's 2 Super Bowls. And
Bills and
then the 2010 World Series.
Wasn't it Bills and Bills?
I don't know. It's a question.
Bills and Bills, and then the 2010 World Series.
Yep.
Who did the Giants? Oh. Let's go with the Rangers.
Okay. What you got, Coach?
Brandy, you're asking the wrong guy. You're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a baseball guy, but the funny thing is,
you're high school.
I know. I should know this. The funny thing is, I went to a Giants World Series game in 2012. So I
had some heavy hitter alumni at that San Ramon High School. Goodness gracious, a list of things. I mean, with you being at the top, of course, but
public high school, Randy Wynn.
Yeah, Randy Wynn. Yeah,
Randy Wynn. I'm going Lifeline. I'm going Lifeline on both of those. I don't know.
Well,
I did just try to Google it right now, but I figured that's cheating. So I got the page, but I said I better not look. I would feel it'd be unfair to Thomas. So I Googled it, but I didn't look.
Well, Coach, either way, if you made any slip-ups, Thomas had you there. He nailed it 100%. We got the Bills ×2 and the Rangers in 2000.
You sure you didn't slip him the questions early? You sure you didn't slip?
No. I actually take joy in causing Thomas a great amount of angst and consternation. So I don't ever give him that sort of clues.
Yeah.
Coach, I'm sorry.
All good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas is our winner of the Mad Dog Mark Madsen Trivia Challenge. Go ahead and cue the music. And that's where our music plays in post-production edit, the Champions League music theme. All right. Go ahead, Thomas.
Brandon, I'll lead with a question I really wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
An article about.
Here, let me do the lead in from the trivia.
Yep.
All right, guys, we are back from our trivia challenge here, and we are with Coach Mark Madsen. Thomas, go ahead and fire away.
I was reading an article when you got to Utah Valley. One of the big things that you were going to bring with all your coaching experience and being with the Lakers and Timberwolves was your player development. And obviously, I do player development in the Midwest and so forth. Can you explain to us and everyone listening to this podcast, like what do you believe in? What are your big things that you focus on with players? And I want to learn as well because, yeah.
Well, I mean, look, so yes, we believe heavily in player development. Our practices right now, and you can't do it every practice. Early on, we didn't have time to do it. But right now, we spend a good portion of the first part of our practice doing skill development, working on the Euro step, working on the spin, working on different actual skill development moves, shooting. And look, that's hard for a head coach to dedicate so much time because we have so many things we want to get in. But if Brandon, would it be okay if I did a screen share and showed a little video?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So this is a video I sent out to some of our players last week. Obviously, a lot of our guys want to be pros, and nobody taught me this move till I was my 4th year in the NBA. Brandon, can you enable screen sharing?
Yeah. Working on it here.
And so what we do, I get on the court with the guys, I show them moves, but I also like to give them a visual of what really, really good pros do. And so I don't know if you guys can see this video right here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So this is Kawhi Leonard. He's driving. Okay, I'm gonna go slow. We call this a rocker step. Look at the defender. Look at the defender go flying. He creates space. He goes right up and in. Okay, that's a rocker. Can you guys see it? Is it going too fast?
No,
you're good.
Just fine.
So I'm going to slow it down. Watch Kevin Garnett, who I played with. Watch this rocker. He gets the middle. Watch his head and his foot. Goes towards the baseline. The defender goes that way. He goes up. Okay. So whether you're a wing, whether you're a big man, there are skills that can be learned. Here's Siakam. He was mentioned, he's a big time up and coming player. Here's the rocker step. And so what we try to do is we try to teach a lot of different skills. This is one simple move for post players. There are things for point guards. Watch this rocker. He steps, the defender goes baseline. It allows Siakam space to go up. Again, nobody taught me this till my 4th year in the NBA. Shoot, this is one of the best examples. And then we'll stop after this clip. Watch Anthony Davis, not only with his rocker, but watch his head and his eyes. Bam. Look at the defender flying that way. Look at the defender creating. No defender is even jumping because of footwork of Anthony Davis. And so we believe hugely in player development. Part of it is I watched Kobe with his footwork. If you have great footwork in the NBA, like we just saw Anthony Davis, that Anthony Davis clip is a phenomenal clip. And we had some big guys join our program this year, and they didn't have a rocker step. And the first week, they didn't quite have it. But now we got some guys with great rocker steps. It creates space. It can potentially get you an and one in certain situations. We have other clips on that. But there's so many skills that when you show it to players on video, when you do it on the court, and then when they see it live in the NBA Finals, it clicks.
But no, I love it. I mean, I've talked to Brandon about this a bunch with helping bigs because obviously, Coach, we talked about I shot more threes than you did when you played. Yeah. You're more inside guy, but I did play a lot of posts, and I love teaching posts, even though it's a dying art. But like the eyes, the hands, the shoulders, all that stuff matters, and I teach that all the time. It's like it doesn't matter about making a shot unless you can have the eyes and people look at those things. I love watching those clips because it's how I teach.
Yeah, I mean it's important, and there's so many things to do once the season starts. But in the summertime, you're on a long flight recruiting. You can spend hours trying to find the perfect clip that teaches something. And some of these clips, they take me and my staff hours to find the perfect clip. But when you find the perfect clip, you can give the players the perfect example, a visual of what you're looking for.
Right. Now, when you finished up playing there with the Timberwolves, was it just an immediate like, I want to be a coach, I'm going into coaching, and this is what I'm going to do? Or did you have other things that you were kind of trying to decide, what do I want to do next?
I knew I wanted to get into coaching. It was immediate. In fact, I had an NBA team call me. They wanted me on their team that year. I would have been a 10-year vet. Look, I had plenty of deficiencies as a player, but I did know how to play defense. I knew all the rotations. I had a voice on the back line. So basically, I would have been an insurance policy for a decent team in the Eastern Conference, where if someone got hurt, I could step in there and kind of hold the fort down. while other guys took most of the shots. Had a team from Greece call, but I knew I wanted to get into coaching. And so an opportunity kind of opened up with the Utah Flash in the G League. Back then it was the D League. I took it. The D League, now the G League, is a phenomenal league. The pay, when I got there, there were 3 different types of contracts: the A, the B, and the C. I'm amazed. The highest paid players in the G League that year made either $22,000 or $24,000 a year.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about players that love the game. The second biggest contract was $16,000. The last was $12,000. But what I loved about it is I loved the players I coached that year. I loved them. They were great guys. We went to cities like Reno, like Boise, Idaho. That was a financial crisis year, so they didn't have us travel to the East Coast. But where else did we went to Albuquerque, and we were there for two games. You know, and I've never been to Reno for more than driving through.
Yeah.
It's got a slogan: "The biggest little city in America," or something like that.
Right.
Something like that. But it was great. I learned a lot. It was the first step into coaching.
So then when you went to Stanford as an assistant, then back to the D League, G League, right? With the Defenders.
Yeah.
And then you get that call to go back to the Lakers. Like what kind of transpired to lead to that? And you know, now you're back with, you know, where you had these amazing moments winning, you know, championships and things like that.
Brandon, there was a delay, but I got the question. So when I was coaching in the G League, I talked to my college roommate from Stanford, and he said, "Look, because I also wanted, I had always thought of maybe going to business school." And he said, "Look, if you're going to go to business school, he had done it. You need to go now." So during the G League, I'm sitting there studying for the GMAT in the hotel room in Boise, trying to remind myself of all the different things in algebra, geometry. I mean, I was exhausted. When you're trying to prepare to play the Idaho Stampede, I'm studying a GMAT book. You know, my math score dropped. My verbal was okay, actually, but my math score dropped because I hadn't done math in a while. It dropped a lot. You know, but I ended up getting into Stanford Business School, and I was in touch with Johnny Dawkins and his staff, Mike Schrage, who's a head college coach now, a really good one, and it worked out for me to join as kind of a graduate manager while I was getting my graduate work done, and then after that, an opportunity as an assistant opened up.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that year. So at the end of that year, the Lakers called me, and I'd stayed in touch, and they said, "Hey, you know, obviously you've been coaching for a little while now. There is an opening with the Defenders. If you want to submit a resume, let us know." So I submitted the resume. We went through the interview process, and it worked out for me to go back as the head coach there.
That's big time. I remember when you got the job at Utah Valley, because we were, you know, talking about who was going to be a candidate for this thing and whatnot. And, you know, you and I didn't know each other yet. And so I remember when you got the job, I was with somebody. I can't think, we were at a restaurant or something. And I said, "Oh, Utah Valley hired Mark Madsen. Is that the dancing guy?" He's like, "Yeah, man, he's assistant with the Lakers." I was like, "Oh, I know he's with the Lakers, but that's the guy that was dancing, right?" And it's so funny to get to know you and piece together. I mean, I watched that thing live when it happened, and getting to see you now as a head coach at a Division I program and come and visit with you guys last year, see the phenomenal facilities that you guys have there, and the awesome college campus. I mean, it really is like an incredibly, you know, one of the best kept secrets out there as far as like how nice it is there and how great the facilities are. And you know, just really excited for you and the things that you guys are going to do there. So
I appreciate it, Brandon. It's, you know, we had a player transfer here from Georgia Tech, Evan Cole. I think I'm allowed to talk about that now. The recruiter, you know, there's so many rules.
I know.
You gotta be careful. But yeah,
can't talk about anybody you're recruiting.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
We'll keep you safe. Don't worry.
Perfect. So Evan Cole came and looked at the facilities, and he said literally our practice facility is on pace with Georgia Tech's and with a lot of the ACC schools.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as that's a compliment to Utah Valley University, to the heritage of players and coaches that have come through here. A lot of great players, Ronnie Price, Travis Hansen, many, many others. Great coaches, Dick Hunsaker, Mark Pope. This is a basketball school. It's a basketball community. There's a lot of people here that are knowledgeable about the sport. So it's a great place to be.
Now, I just saw today announced you're going to start your season off against Stanford.
Yeah.
At Stanford.
Right.
How cool is that for you to get to kick off a season against your former team where you played, where you coached? I mean, you know, for all the crazy crap going on and the scheduling nightmares and all that stuff that's happening right now, like that's got to feel pretty good.
It feels great. It feels great. You know, Jared Haas has done a phenomenal job at Stanford. And I actually met Jared, back in 1991 or 1992. I was on an unofficial recruiting trip to Cal Berkeley. And Jared was there with Jason Kidd. And Jared was winning Jared was just playing with Jason Kidd was the best player on the court, but Jared Haas was diving for loose balls. He was winning every sprint drill. And I remember watching him and I thought, I want to be like that. You know, it impacted me. He's done a great job at Stanford. He and Stanford were gracious enough to have an opening, and it worked out for us to go. So I'm grateful.
That's big time.
Coach, if I could ask, I usually like to ask this stuff to former players. Is there any moments in your life, defining moments, whether it be on or off the court, that you look at this like today, that you can look back on and be like, you know, this time and this time and this time in my life were things that made me who I am?
The first thing that comes to my mind is family. You know, family. My parents are amazing people. I'm the fifth of 10 kids in my family. You know, family is so important. I grew up, you know, above me, I have a sister, and I have two sisters and two brothers, and below me, in order, it's three girls and then two younger brothers at the end. And you know, we had great memories together, and we still, you know, create good memories now. But family is so important. You know, family is something I really wanted. You know, I got married at 40, and to an amazing person, Hannah, my wife Hannah, and we have two little boys, and we have a happy life, and it's a lot of fun, and you know, I love basketball. I told someone the other day, hey, my life revolves around three things, you know, faith, family, and basically the guys in this program, our young men in this program. I mean, those are my priorities in my life right now. Faith, family, and the young men, our players, our staff. I mean, I love everyone. I love our players. Our staff is fantastic. That's my life. You know, it's like I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes to help with the little boys. And, you know, last night we had an early morning practice. So I always get excited about practice. I can't sleep because I'm so excited. So I fell asleep at 3, woke up at 6, and you have practice. You do things throughout the day, and then go home and be with family.
That's big time. Coach, we sincerely appreciate you coming on today. This has been fun for us, and I can't wait to get out there. I'll be headed that way soon. Come see you guys, and I know we'll catch up again soon.
Brandon, appreciate you having me on. Obviously, you and Thomas always have a red carpet here at Utah Valley. It was good to see you last year. Thomas, we missed you. Get you out here soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Really appreciate you guys taking the time with me today.
No, thank you so much, Coach. We appreciate it.
All right, take care.